Hey everybody, it's Missy again. Thanks for joining me today. I'm back with a new layout for the Precious Remembrance shop, and I'm going to create a Christmas layout today. I'm going to use some stamps from this set, which is called Sketchy Christmas. And if you remember my last few layouts for this design team, I've used my watercolors to do some stamping. And so I thought I would try it again with these Christmas trees, and I had the idea in my mind that I wanted to create some shimmery gold Christmas trees, just to do something a little bit different. However, it does not turn out that great, and I think the reason is because this stamp or these trees, it's more of a solid shape, whereas if you remember my mason jar layout from a few videos ago, I did the watercolor on that and it turned out great. And I think it's because on the mason jars, the lines of the stamp were, kind of skinny, and so it was okay if the watercolor bled out on each side of the lines of the stamp. But this one, it's more of a solid shape, and so it just sort of looks like a blob. And you can see there what I'm talking about. You can see the shape of the tree, but it just didn't have any detail. And so I changed gears and I pulled out 3 green ink pads. Now, I do not have a lot of ink pads. The ones I do have are pretty cheap, the colored ones anyway. And these are from, I think, the dollar spot at Michael's. And I think the bigger one may have been on clearance. Gosh, it's been a couple years and it still works. But all I'm doing is dabbing on some of the ink onto the stamp, and I'm trying to make some of them multicolored to kind of give it some shading. And I like how this is turning out, so that they look a little bit light in some areas. They have some darker edges. And you really can't mess this up. You just rub some of the ink pad on there, different colors, and you're going to get a two-toned shape. So I thought I would stamp some trees, and then I'm going to fussy cut these out because I have to fussy cut things. And I've been on a fussy cutting kick for a long time, especially for stamps. Now before I cut them, I'm going to lightly spritz some gold Heidi Swapp Color Shine, and I think this turned out so pretty. It just gives it a pop of gold and a little bit of shimmer, and it kind of looks like gold snow, I didn't want it to look like it had Christmas lights on it, but I just wanted it to look like it had a sprinkling of gold snow, I guess you could say, on there. And I think these turn out really pretty. And I don't make you watch me cut out all of these, but I do cut out several of them. And I love how they look sketchy and messy, and that's just the nature of the stamp. And so you can really see the detail since I used actual stamp pad ink instead of the watercolor. So it's hard to tell from, in this bright light, but I've got several different colors of the trees. And I'm using a picture of Paige from last year at our Christmas tree lot. And she actually stood still for a split second. And so I took some pictures. And the angle's not that great. I wish she would have been turned the other direction since all the trees are kind of to her right. But you know what? When things happen in a split second, you just take the picture and go with it. And so that's the picture that I'm going to use. And she's smiling, so I think it's cute. Now I'm going to jazz up my background here. It's just plain white cardstock. That's gold Heidi Swapp Color Shine there. I used the packaging technique. I just did some splatters with the nozzle. And I do want lots of gold in this layout. And I usually don't like just strictly red and green layouts for Christmas. I like non-traditional colors. I like to bring in aquas and golds and silvers and pinks and things like that. Not necessarily just red and green. But this is going to wind up being kind of traditional meets not traditional, if that even makes any sense. Obviously, she's got a red shirt on. There's going to be lots of green trees, but I'm going to bring some pink in too. Now what I'm going through here is one of the die cut sets that you can also get in the shop. This is called Oh Christmas Bits and Pieces, and I'm going to work in that little circle that I just pulled out that says Merry and Bright. Now here's where I decided to get crazy and pull in some pink and red. I pulled out some gelatos to start, and I just scribbled it right onto some plastic, added some water, mixed it up, and I'm doing it exactly like I would do if I had put spray ink on there. So this is one of the versatile ways you can use gelatos. You can scribble it directly on, just like I'm doing there. I like to smudge it with my finger. Now I didn't use any gesso, and so it's not smudging really well. It's smudging better since there's something wet there already. If it was just dry right onto the plain cardstock as is, it wouldn't smudge as well. but since I'm putting it on top of water, it smudges a little bit better. So I thought that I would jazz it up at the background with the gold and add some pink. And I like how this turns out a lot. I decided to pull in some shimmers, and this is I think it's a spritz. Yeah, it's a spritz called Ruby. Very pretty, shimmery pink color. And my first thought was I should add some red to the background since she's wearing a red shirt, but it actually works out. I think it matches really well and looks pretty once it's all said and done. I love how that background turned out. I'm just been on a gold kick lately. I've been adding gold to everything, and I think the rose gold is so pretty, and so that's why I've been adding pink to the gold. And it doesn't really make a rose gold. I probably could if I tried, but I like how that looks together. So I'm going to start to kind of layer in these trees just to kind of echo the trees in the picture. And this is going to sort of be a horizontal layout. And so you've got all these lines of trees. I'm going to layer some in the front, some on top. And I tried to kind of mix up the shades of the different colors of green there. And I'm going to put a couple up front, in front of the trees in the background, and I'm going to pop that up with some foam here in just a minute. It's just going to give it some dimension to make it pop off the page. Now I went through an old, I think this is last year's hip kit. I still had a lot of the Christmas stuff left over. This is from the Snow and Cocoa collection, which I think is still being released this year. And I hadn't used this paper with all these adorable trees. And so I went through and fussy cut out some of the light pink ones, some white ones, and the two dark pink ones. And I'm going to kind of mix and match those in between all of these stamped green trees. And I love those pops of color. I love how that looked. These are some of the Project Life cards from the hip kit last year. They just, parts of it happened to match what I was doing, and so I thought I would use those up. So this is also kind of a stash busting layout as well. And this was some of the washi tape that I did not use last year. And that's a hot pink piece down there at the bottom. And this kind of, I would say, turns out to be a pretty simple layout. There's going to be a lot of white space. The only thing I'm really going to do as far as adding a lot of more detail is I'm going to create kind of a long title, and it's going to go underneath everything. I'm going to start to glue things down here, and I know someone's going to ask me the glue that I'm using in my bottle. That is the Scotch tacky glue, and I get that from Michael's. It does not come in this little bottle here. That bottle comes empty, and you can get those bottles at Hobby Lobby or Amazon. Gold thread. I decided to wrap it around my finger and kind of create a circle or a little nest of the gold thread and kind of tuck it in underneath some of the trees there. I have bad luck trying to make the gold thread or any of the metallic thread, gold or silver, kind of look like a tangled mess like I usually do it. Because of the nature of the material, it just wants to stay straight. So if I loop it up around my fingers, then it stays better in a circle. More hip kit stuff from last year. I had a lot of these alphas left over. I'm going to wind up changing that washi tape, the striped washi tape that I put up at the top and the bottom. I really wanted to use those glittery gold thickers, but I realized that I had ran out of ease, and I want my title to be all the trees. I was just trying to pick a title that I hadn't used yet, and I feel like I always use the word Christmas or holidays or merry and bright, that type of thing. So I just thought I would go simple and basic, all the trees. Now I'm going to peel up that washi tape strip. It's multicolored, but it matches really pretty. It just blended in with the background too much, so I stuck it to some vellum first. And that way you can see the true colors of it, because it's kind of transparent. I'm going to cut that merry and bright circle in half, just like that. And I play around with the title, trying to figure out how to position everything. So I went through my gold, I have a Ziploc bag of all my gold thickers, and I had some of these. I'm sure you had them or you've seen them. I can't remember if they were Amy Tan or Dear Lizzie, but they're a couple years old. And I decided to use Wonderful since I had it. It looked pretty, it's gold. So now my title is going to be All the Wonderful Trees. And now I'm going to add in Christmas from some washi tape. So it's going to say All the Wonderful Christmas Trees. It just keeps growing and growing. Those green thickers are really old, but you know what? I had all the colors, or I had all the letters that I needed, and I think it brings the green down to that part of the layout from all those trees. I've got the pink, I've got the gold, now I've got the green, and I love how that looks. Sometimes it's fun to mix and match the colors and the fonts and the sizes and just create a long title, and I love how that looks. And I'm going to add that second piece of washi tape down there at the bottom, and then some green thread at the top. So now I've got a pop of green going on up there. I really love how those stamp trees turned out. Yeah, go through your stamps. If you don't do a lot of stamping on your layouts, go through your stamps. I'm sure you have a bunch that you're hoarding, and I know a lot of people always say, I have so many stamps, I just need to pull them out, I never use them. Well, you know what? Pull them out, look at them, and see what you can do. Stamp with them and fussy cut them out and create your own embellishments. It's a lot of fun, and you get a unique look. These are some Spiegel Mom Scraps sequins. I'm going to stick down some light pink ones and some green ones. Now you can see there, just little pops of just sparkly circles, little dots going everywhere. I just added them here and there, on the trees, under the trees, around the trees. I'm going to add my journaling, just a couple of lines, and I'm going to use my gold metallic pen. Since, you know, we need more gold in our lives. And then the last thing I'm going to do is add some more gold. Heidi Swap Color Shine, and then I do add the date, I think, off camera, but yep, there's the final layout. I love how this turned out. I love the background. I love the green and the pink mixed together. Even though she's wearing a red shirt, I didn't really add any red to it, but I don't think it takes away from anything. I love how these colors look together, and I'm so glad I pulled out that old hip kit just to see what I had left, and lo and behold, everything that I picked out worked. So yeah, so let me know if you have any questions. Make sure you check out Precious Remembrance Shop. There's a ton of stamps. They are very, very high quality, all very awesome, beautiful stamps. And the die cuts, there's a lot of those too. So let me know if you have any questions. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.